So let me tell you a little bit about why I decided to run for office. And I'll take you back to a moment in time, one I think everybody remembers, and that was November 9th of 2016. So this was the day after the election of Donald Trump. I was still ambassador to Denmark, and I was hosting a reception for 700 people. These are friends of the United States, friends of Denmark. I looked at the crowd, and all I saw was fear and despair in the eyes of the people in this crowd. So I think it was in that moment that I really first made the decision that it was time for me to come home and step up my level of service. You know, in the days that followed, you think back over the course of your life, and you think back to the pivotal moments, the ones that made me believe in the system, the ones that made me so just sort of proud to be participating in the political process and the government process. Thought back to the day I first met Obama, and that was January 2007. It was at a reception at Teddy Kennedy's Senate office. And I remember I went up to him and I had a 30-second conversation with a young African-American senator from Illinois. And I knew in that moment that I wanted to work for him, which I did for 10 years. I felt like he could bring more people into the process, younger people, people who had been traditionally disenfranchised. I thought about the moment where I quit my job in Hollywood, uninspired by the work I was doing in my late 20s, and made the decision to go volunteer full-time on John Kerry's presidential campaign. It was in those moments when I started working in politics, first as a very low-dollar fundraiser, that I sort of found my purpose. I found what I think I was meant to do in this world. I think back further about when I first heard Paul Tsongas speak. It was at my high school in 1992. He was running for president, and his authenticity and his sincerity was infectious. And then I thought back to growing up here in Massachusetts and my mom and my dad sitting me down and watching documentaries about presidents like JFK, and them, you know, looking at me and sort of thinking we'd never have a president like that ever again. But these are hopeful moments. These are why, in some ways, why I believe in the system. Why I feel so passionately about the future of the country. And then going back to that room in Denmark and seeing the fear and despair on people's faces, despite the fact that, frankly, I had a lot of fear and despair in my heart, I was still an optimist, as I've always been. I believe that there is a massive deficit of trust that exists between people and institutions, and we need to build that back. I really, really do believe in the system. I've seen it work. You've seen glimpses of greatness so many times over the years, and we need to have more and more and more of those.